Hi guys, to those of you who are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Louise, aka GC Louise, and today this video is going to be about the kind of diet that I have almost a year out of surgery. When I first went onto solid food from the soft food stage, I was so mindful of the things that I was having. I was weighing everything out at 100 grams. I set myself to have no more than 1,000 calories a day. And I also had to try to get at least 60 grams of protein a day. To track everything and make sure I was getting a general idea of the food that I was having, I used an app called MyFitnessPal. Most of you have probably heard of MyFitnessPal. It's a really handy app for keeping on track of everything and seeing your weekly stats and stuff like that. What I like about it is that you can just scan the barcode on the packaging of the food you're about to have. I found it quite easy to have no more than 1,000 calories a day because the small stomach that I had left was actually still swollen from surgery. So the restriction was much more real than what it is now. What I struggled to do was to have at least 60 grams of protein a day and to get all my fluids in. Once I started to feel comfortable with the things that I was having, and when I learned what things have more protein, less carbs, what has more calories, what doesn't, I decided to stop tracking. I think it was after maybe a couple of weeks. I stopped tracking because I didn't want to track for the rest of my life, and out of curiosity, I wanted to see if I would still lose weight going solo. Thankfully I did. I was still having pretty much the same sort of things as I did when I was tracking. I just wasn't weighing everything out, to the exact gram. I was just sort of guesstimating on my plate. Right, my carbs are usually around this size, my protein's usually around this size, this should be fine. And it was, so that's when I stopped tracking. And why? A lot of people who have had weight loss surgery decide to actually go on the ketogenic diet. The keto diet was usually advised to follow to treat and calm down the symptoms of epilepsy in children. But in the past few years, people have actually been trying this diet to not only lose weight, but also manage symptoms of polycystic ovary syndrome, and it has shown great results. So I'm not an expert on keto, but what I have learned from it is that it's a high protein, high fat, very low carbohydrate kind of diet. You don't have to completely restrict carbs, but you need to have enough fat and as little carbs to reach what they call a state of ketosis. Some of the symptoms that you experience once you've reached a state of ketosis include things like bad breath, weight loss, increased ketones in the blood, appetite suppression, and increased focus and energy. So after doing some research myself of the keto diet, I was quite interested, and after being on the solid diet for a couple of months, I thought I would give keto a go to see if my weight loss would increase and if my polycystic ovarian symptoms calmed down. Unfortunately, I'm not going to give you much feedback of the keto diet myself, because after trying it for no more than a week, I found out that I had developed gallstones, and having fat is the worst thing you could do for your gallstones as it brings on attacks. So unfortunately, I did have to stop that. The week that I did try it, I do recall feeling, I don't think I felt that great, if I'm honest. I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't feel like I had increased energy. I felt like I had less, and I don't think it was for me. However, when my gallbladder does get removed, I've now been having my own diet for nearly a year, and I do think that I am quite happy with the things that I am having now, and that I found that good in-between balance between a diet and a healthy lifestyle. I know that there's quite a lot of controversy about the keto diet, but honestly, I do believe that the best thing that works for you and what you're most happy with, you should stick to, whether that's keto or not. If you feel that the diet you're on isn't too strict and you're not consciously having to make an effort every single day not to have things such as a banana because bananas are full of sugar, or I can't have that carrot because it's full of carbs. That's maybe a bit too extreme for my liking. That's not the kind of diet that I want to be on for the rest of my life. However, if you've chose one where it's really easy for you and you feel like you can be on it for life, then go for it. I do believe that we didn't have this weight loss surgery to be on fad diets for the rest of our lives, and I'm not saying keto is a fad diet, but I'm saying that some people do take it to the extreme, and I believe that you're setting yourself up for failure. The harder the diet, the more likely you are to crash and burn. It's all about having a healthier lifestyle and being more mindful of the things that we're putting in our body and how active we're being throughout the day. Don't get me wrong, I don't just eat anything I want to all the time. I still like to prioritise my protein and my vegetables before I do my carbs. And I still like to stick to one of the half-an-hour rules when I'm having my food as well, which I think helps. So after surgery, I'm probably going to get a bit tongue-tied and have to concentrate what I'm saying here, because it always... I always struggle to get it out. After surgery, you are supposed to have a drink, and if you want to eat, you've got to wait half an hour until you eat again. Then once you've had your food, you can't drink again for another half an hour after that. The reason why you have to wait half an hour before food again after a drink is because if you are drinking, say, a big pint of juice, if you go to have food after that, your stomach is full of liquid and you're going to get full a hell of a lot quicker than what you would have done if you wait half an hour. Therefore, you're not getting as much nutrients in your body. After food, the reason why they like you to wait half an hour before drinking again is because if you drink straight after your meal, not only can this fill you up, but it can also flush the food out of your system quicker, therefore making you hungry again sooner than what you would be if you would have waited half an hour. Some people like to wait half an hour, some people like to wait an hour, some people choose not to do it at all and just drink with their food as they always had done before they had the surgery. The reason why most people don't bother with this half an hour or hour rule, whatever you'd like to call it, is because we have to get in around 4 to 4.5 pints of liquid a day, and it is difficult enough as it is without having to play the waiting game and just sitting there waiting for our food to settle. It is hard, and I'm not going to have any judgments for those who choose not to do it. I personally struggle doing both. I've chose to do one instead of both, and the one I do is I do drink and eat like 10 minutes after instead of half an hour, but I do then wait half an hour after my food to drink again. I just make sure I don't have anything spicy. Luckily I don't like spicy food anyway. Otherwise, that would be super difficult to just sit there with your mouth feeling like it's on fire and not being able to drink. Another thing a lot of people like to do after weight loss surgery is meal prep. I think meal prepping is such a brilliant idea, especially if you have a busy lifestyle and work a lot. It does stop you quickly going to the corner shop on your lunch break and grabbing something with potentially less nutritional value and possibly higher in calories. I personally don't meal prep. I don't work, so not only have I got the time to do food as and when I need to, I actually enjoy it. It's a part of my day that I do enjoy, trying out different recipes and experimenting with food, so I don't need to. One thing I do prep though, however, is salad. I have salad about sometimes up to 3 times a day. I'm having it so much, and there's so much chopping involved, so much mess involved with the amount of things I put in my salad. It does make sense for me to just make a big pot of it and have that through the week. Because the leaf or lettuce part of the salad can go like quite soggy and not very appealing looking quite quickly after being mixed with other types of salad, what I do is I keep that separate. So I'll either just buy a bag of leafed salad, keep it in the bag and then have the pot of the rest separately, or I will chop up lettuce and put it in a container separate to the other stuff. And when I have it on my plate, I put the lettuce down, then sprinkle the stuff that I chopped up, and then top with olive oil and salt. I used to always have salad cream or dressing with my salad, but I've decided now that olive oil, it tastes nice and it's just less mess, and it's actually worked out cheaper as well because it lasts me a long time. What I like to do is I've put my olive oil in like a vinegar container, or you can even buy an olive oil pourer. That probably makes more sense. But before I purchased something to put my olive oil in, it was a messy business and my hands used to just be covered with olive oil. So that's a little tip for me if that's something that you'd like to do. The kind of stuff that I did have in my salad include things like chickpeas for the protein. I had sweet corn, little cherry tomatoes cut up into 4, cucumbers sliced and cut into 4 pieces also, olives, gherkins, peppers and grated carrot. Okay, so that's my salad. That's what I have with breakfast, lunch and dinner sometimes. Now I'm gonna get into breakfast, lunch and dinner, the stuff that I do have during the day. This isn't what I have every single day and I'm constantly on the ball. I'll be honest with you, sometimes I do slip up, but this is what I have 95% of the time. So I try to stick to 3 meals and 2 snacks a day. So my day usually starts off with a cup of tea, and then I have my breakfast. I wait half an hour before drinking, try to drink as much as I can, and then I have my lunch, and then I carry on that pattern and have snacks in between. Sometimes it will be breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, or I'll have the snack after the dinner, like something sweet. That's what I usually like to try and stick to. So starting with breakfast, one thing that I do like to have quite often is protein Weetabix. I have a number of different things with this. It could either be protein powder, mashed banana, powdered peanut butter or sugar-free syrup. Little omelettes are something that I've started getting into and enjoying. I bought these cute little egg rings for £3 and with them I've been making omelettes and pancakes. And I put the kind of stuff that most people put in theirs really, either choosing between smoked salmon, ham, tuna and some veggies, with cheese obviously. I've even just had cheese and vegetables and just put bacon on the side on like a bed of lettuce or something. I actually used to really love my bacon sandwiches before the operation. That was always my go-to breakfast, probably why I was big in the first place. So something I have now which makes it better and goes down easier is just having bacon on its own with some side lettuce and maybe a couple of croutons. I have tried to have sandwiches in the past and sometimes I still do, but I always end up regretting it, picking it apart and just trying to get into the filling part first, as that's the part that's full of protein and nutrients. The bread just fills me up too much to actually enjoy it. I also really enjoy having smoked salmon on a cracker bread, usually with light Philadelphia, the garlic and herb flavour, and putting salad on the side. I have cracker bread and salad quite often for my breakfast, so I usually have things on the same line such as cottage cheese, prawns with like mayo, pate on a cracker bread with salad, or even tuna and mayo. I have tried to have tuna mayo on toast with cheese on top, but again met with regret because of the bread. So really I do much prefer to have cracker breads than bread. They're smaller, they go down easier, it's less carb content, and it just makes sense really for me anyway. Fruit and fibre with yoghurt is something that I really enjoy. I like to have the little low fat yoghurts from Asda, but Anywhere does them because I usually like the flavours they do, which is either toffee, vanilla or banana. I have tried having cereal with milk, but because it's the drinking and eating at the same time, it really fills me up, makes me a little bit uncomfortable, and I found that yoghurt went down a lot easier. Scrambled egg was something that I talked about on the soft food stage. If you didn't watch that video, I was basically explaining how when it's just for yourself and you're not cooking for others, the easiest option to do your scrambled egg is in the microwave. I mix it with ham or salmon or chive, garlic, whisk it up in a microwavable bowl and put it in for a minute and a half, taking it out every 30 seconds to stir. Or something you can do is not take it out at all to stir during that minute and a half. Just pour the mixture on a plate instead of a bowl and you've got a ready-made omelette done. It's a good thing to have because it is so full of protein, and you can have it from early and it's quick and easy. Fry-ups I don't really get on as well as I used to pre-op. I have had them a couple of times, but I find that the sausage and egg really fills me up, and it's just a dinner that I struggle with and take quite a while to eat and get really full from. So I tend to sort of stay away from them. For some weird reason, if my fry-up comes with a boiled egg instead of fried, I will really struggle to eat that too. Fried, scrambled, poached, that goes down easy. Boiled egg, I struggle with. Also, I need to watch my fat content because of my gallbladder, so a fry-up, word being fried, probably isn't the best thing for me at the moment. Lastly, for breakfast, something that my boyfriend likes to make is shakshuka. Yet again, another meal that really fills me up. However, it is full of protein. He puts like meat and veggies in tomatoes with some chickpeas and cracks eggs on top, and that's really nice. So after my breakfast, I like to have my multivitamins, as it does say to take with food if you can. I alternate between having one a day or two a day. This is because for months and months, till very recently, I was having one a day without realising I was supposed to have two. I've had lots of blood work since then, and whilst doing that, and everything always came back fine. So I figured I will have two a day, but not every day, because one a day was fine for me. I have the Centrum Fruity Chewable A to Z multivitamins, and they're pretty nice. It's not a chore, it just feels like I'm having a little sweet after breakfast every day, so I have no problem with having to take them for the rest of my life. They are a little bit on the pricier side, unfortunately, so I think that's also another reason why I alternate between two and one a day. I also have to have an Adcool D3, which is a calcium chewable tablet as well, but I have that as soon as I wake up with all my other medications I have to take that's not surgery related. For lunch, I have pretty similar things as I do for breakfast. Say if I've had Weetabix for breakfast, I can then have one of the cracker bread and salad sort of meals for lunch. My really cute friend, bless her heart, recently bought me an air fryer, so I've been having lots of fun with that, and I have used that quite a bit for my lunches and dinners. Some of the meals that I have with my air fryer are things like breaded fish or breaded chicken with salad or fish fingers. When I first received it, I was pretty obsessive and I was buying lots of party food, which is a bit naughty. You know, like the breaded prawns you can get, or spring rolls and stuff like that. I was air frying everything, just pretty amazed by it. However, if I was having something breaded, such as a fish finger or any of the other stuff that I listed, usually I did say, right, the breaded part is my carbs. So I'm literally having fish fingers and salad. Sometimes I didn't, sometimes I was naughty and popped like one or two croutons on my plate, but usually I like to say that the breaded part was my carb. I've had little mini sausage rolls before with my salad, not the most nutritional, and I tended to pick out the sausage part first before getting to the carbs. Sometimes I'm a bit creative with the leftover dinner from the night before. I'll either put say for example leftover spaghetti bolognese or stew, I can put that with maybe a bit of toast, put it on top of toast, put it on top of a bagel or cracker bread, or I can even put it in a pepper, put some cheese on top and cook that. So that's a lunch idea that I've had before. Obviously protein bars or protein shakes are something good to have for your lunch. My favourite brands are Grenade and Fulfill, which is pretty much most people's favourite brands. And although I have recently tried and did enjoy the Grenade shakes, I much prefer to make my own. So I like to have my own protein smoothie. I did have it a bit more in the summer, if I'm honest, because it is quite a cold drink to have. I also talked about this in the soft food stage, but since coming out of soft foods, I was able to swap some of the items for better ones. So what I really like to have in my protein smoothie is 50 grams of Arla protein yogurt, the strawberry flavour, 50 grams of frozen mango and pineapple little smoothie ready to go bags that I get from Asda, 1 scoop of, I think the brand's called SciFX or SciMX, 1 scoop of their strawberry protein powder, and then I fill the rest up with water and crushed ice. I use my NutriBullet to make these, so I fill it up to the max line of the NutriBullet, screw it on, blend it, and that's all done for me. So my protein smoothie is 154 calories and it gives me 22.8 grams of protein. So it does come in handy. It does taste really nice and it's super refreshing in the summer. Sometimes I have had noodles for lunch. It's not something I like to have often because noodles aren't very nutritional, but I have put stuff in with them such as crab sticks I've even tried once, which is quite nice, or ham, or even tuna's nice to have with it too. One thing that I've even experimented for lunch is like a tofu and cauliflower rice soup mixed with a vegetable stock. I only ever made it once when I was on the soft food stage, but I remember I really enjoyed it. So I would really like to make that again actually. On to my main dinners now, and something that I mentioned earlier that I like to have is spaghetti bolognese. I have it the same as everyone else. Sometimes I have tried turkey mince, which is quite nice, and I do like to have reduced fat mince because of my gallbladder. But apart from that, I have spaghetti bolognese in the same way as I always did, but just slightly less spaghetti. Still really like to have my roast dinners, whether that's lamb, beef, pork or chicken, but I do like to have the meat and vegetable section bigger than the carbs, which is such a shame because I'm obsessed with Yorkshires and stuffing, and I do really like to have that. Microwavable fish and sauce, I was hyping them up in my last video in the soft food stage. Really handy, perfect size for us. Full of protein, super yummy and nice and quick and easy to do as well. Another type of dinner I like to have if I'm having like salad and chips or salad and croutons is just any meat in my own made sauce. Say for example, cook some chicken, chop it up, put it in Greek yogurt and season it as you wish. That's usually a favourite of mine to have, as the salad and chips aspect of the dinner could be quite dry, so that gives it a nice mix for me on my plate. Gammon and egg and air fried chips is something that I've had before. Aunt Bessie's actually do these vegetable chips. I've only been able to get my hands on them once before and I absolutely love them. I would quite happily have them instead of chips any day, but I haven't been able to find them, unfortunately. But for now, the kind of chips that I have are either sweet potato fries or curly fries, but again, they are the smallest thing on my plate and they are air fried, so it just makes it that little bit better. Other carbs I have on the side of my dinner are new potatoes, roast potatoes, garlic bread, mash, or smash. I do enjoy steak bakes and pies and things like that, but I do end up just scooping all the filling out because I end up getting full and I don't want to be full on the pastry. Yellow haddock is one of my favourite kinds of fish, so I like to have that with salad. That's super nice. Something I like to also have a few times, especially now that it's winter, is a nice big pot of stew. Obviously that's great for me. It's got loads of veggies in it. Maybe not as much protein because mince is the smallest part of the stew, but it is really hearty and filling and it does warm me up. And yet again, I tend to sort of go around the potatoes, not really have much of that and only give myself half a dumpling. Having burgers without buns. Me and my partner have made our own turkey burgers before. Pasta bake, and any kind of pasta dishes, yet again, I have had, don't really like to have it too much. It's too filling, not nutritional enough for me. And any dish that includes rice, such as curry. Sometimes I like to have the microwavable rice that you get in the packets. Sometimes I like to have cauliflower rice as a rice substitute. But something I did find in the back of my freezer was this Slim Zone brand of cauliflower, quinoa and lentil rice. I looked at the stats, it looked absolutely brilliant, it had protein in it, high in fibre. I was like, yes, I want to try this. Really excited, put it in the microwave, tried it, and I really didn't like it. I was like, oh, this is awful, this is disgusting. I don't think I'm going to have this again. But I thought it's such a shame because it's got such goodness in it. So what I actually decided to do with the leftover rice I mixed it with normal rice. So yeah, it does still have rice in it, but that way I've reduced the carbs by 50% and I've got 50% more protein and fibre than what I would have done if I just had normal rice. So that's what I've been having at the moment and it tastes so much better. Onto snacks now, and the kind of quick savoury snacks that I like to have in between my meals are things like Baby Bells. I usually have the light ones. Pepperamis, I like to get the mini ones because they're a good size. Fridge Raiders, they've got loads of different flavours and they've got their protein. I really like my sushi, so I get that quite a bit in the past, especially when I'm out and about. Other things that I tend to grab from the shop if I'm out and about are things like pork scratchings or beef jerky. However, since my gallbladder, I tend to have them less, which is a shame because they have got lots of protein in them. Also, M&S do such perfect little snack pots for us as well. They do these dinky little things. You've probably seen them with either prawn and sweet chili sauce, or what I had the other day was a egg and quinoa protein pot with avocado and soy sauce. That was super nice. Other things I like to snack on include FlapJacks, crab sticks. I have actually dipped crab sticks in hummus before, don't judge, it was really nice. I like to dip anything in hummus really, as a snack such as cucumber or even pepperami, I've had that. And another snack that I've liked to make is having sliced cucumber with some cream cheese and smoked salmon on top. Other things that I like to snack on that are more on the sweet side include things like Nature Valley bars. I've actually put some peanut butter and banana on top of a Nature Valley bar before, and that's really nice. I've had broken pieces of dark chocolate mixed with orange in the past. Fibre One bars are good. They're only 90 calories and they do quite a wide range of different flavours. My favourite flavour is the chocolate one. I've also liked to warm that up in the microwave for like 10 seconds, and I've even been known to put a dollop of peanut butter on top. Choco bars, they're quite small. I am aware that most cereal bars are full of sugar, so I usually have them as a treat. However, if I were to choose between a bar of dairy milk or a Choco bar, at least the Choco bar's got nuts in it and I'm getting some protein in. Grenade protein spread. I've only tried the hazelnut flavour and I've really enjoyed it. I've spread it on toast, I've had it on my pancakes, but I usually just like to have a couple of mouthfuls out of the jar if I've got a sweet tooth. Halo Top and Oppo ice cream are both really good ice creams in regards to the amount of sugar they put in it, the amount of protein, and the fact that it's gluten-free, vegan, and all that good stuff as well. Some of them are as low as like 280 calories per pot, so if you haven't heard of them before, that's definitely something that I recommend. Gray's protein bites, I'm a huge fan of. I really like them. Strawberries with Arla protein yogurt is something that I've had before, or just even having a low-fat yogurt on its own that I mentioned earlier. And lastly, another type of cereal bar that I've enjoyed is an Alpen bar. They're absolutely tiny, so what I've done in the past is actually break them up into pieces, put them in a bowl and maybe add you know, either sliced banana or orange depending on the type of flavour that I've bought. Before surgery, one of the things that I really liked to do was baking. I used to really like baking things such as cute little fairy cakes or cake pops, and I really enjoyed the creative side of it as well as eating it, obviously. So when I did have surgery, I tried to find some recipes to have something healthier, so I still enjoyed the baking aspect of things. One thing that I'm having quite a lot lately that I'm enjoying making is the 2-ingredient pancakes. Basically, all you need is half of a ripe banana and 1 egg. You whisk them together. You can even do it in a bowl with a fork if you don't have a blender, or you can blend it, and that gives you pancake mix that is a lot better for you because it has the protein of the egg, and also a banana is, yes, it is full of sugar, but it is the better kind of sugar to have. I usually enjoy to have my pancakes with sugar-free syrup or grenade chocolate spread that I was talking about earlier. Sometimes I'd like to alternate the recipe a little bit because I just have that stuff in the kitchen anyway, such as baking powder to make them a little bit more on the fluffy side. I've also added vanilla extracts just to give them that added taste. I've even boosted up the protein by adding a little bit of protein powder if the flavour would go with it, such as caramel or butterscotch. And peanut butter powder is something I really like to add to it as well. I absolutely love my peanut butter powder. I use it quite a bit for baking, if I'm honest. And there's all different types of brands. The most popular brands are either PB2 or PB Fit, but the type I have is one called Peanut Hottie. It basically takes all the fat away from peanut butter and keeps all the protein in it. I used to like having my peanut butter before I found out I had gallstones, so once I was diagnosed with them, that's when I swapped it up for peanut butter powder. 2 other things I've liked to bake in the past is high protein FlapJacks and egg and banana muffins. I will put the link in the description if anyone's interested in having a look. So on to takeaways now. I don't really enjoy them anymore, if I'm honest. I feel like they're now more hassle and money than what they're worth. Sometimes you have to pay a minimum charge in order to order it in the first place. And sometimes you're waiting for up to 40 minutes just for it to arrive and have a measly 4 or 5 bites of it before getting full. And also something I don't like about getting takeaways is that because you have so little of it at the time, you have all these leftovers and you've still got bad food in the house the next day or even the day after that. So even though you only intended to satisfy your craving at that moment, even when you're not in the mood for it the next day, it's still in the house, giving you more chance of going for it. The best thing to do if you're going to have a takeaway, depending on what you're having, is to really just use your own salad and sides, and maybe just ordering the meat. For example, yesterday I really fancied a takeaway. I really fancied ribs for some reason. But I didn't want to get loads of ribs and greasy deep fried chips. And I wanted some vegetables and salad still as well. So I just ordered a box of ribs, put it with my quinoa rice and salad, and that was me satisfied, and it's like 50% better than what it would have been in the first place. I have had McDonald's in the past. I've even had like a quarter pounder burger. But I just end up picking it apart and not enjoying it. So if McDonald's is getting ordered, something that I go for now is the grilled chicken and bacon McSalad. It's much better for me. It's really tasty. I'm shocked that McDonald's do really nice salads. And if I've got that left in the house, so be it. I can quite happily have that the next day and not feel bad about it. Chinese was a big favourite of mine when I was pre-op. I loved Chinese, but thankfully my taste buds have changed since the operation and I now don't like it. So I tend to avoid Chinese. While I'm quickly mentioning taste buds, I've also started liking avocado and peanut butter I never liked either. So I've actually been quite fortunate in the taste bud change. I'm actually liking more healthier stuff and not liking greasy Chinese. Pizza, I actually had once since having the operation. I had it in December and I hadn't had it for over a year. I was quite disappointed in it, to be fair. Yet again, so filling, not worth it. Other takeaways that I've enjoyed is Jamaican. and like peri peri grilled chicken. Don't get me wrong, they're not absolutely brilliant for you, but they're certainly on the other end of the sort of takeaway health scale. Thing is, I don't really feel the need to have takeaways. I'm at home most days, so I don't even think about it. I just cook, so it's not something that I have very often, thankfully. So on to going out to have something to eat. This is something that I never really used to do a lot before the operation, and I certainly don't do it as much now. If I'm going out, depending on the restaurant, I do tend to ask for a kids meal. However, I had a Christmas party December just gone, and once my kids meal had arrived, I was shocked by how huge it was. I honestly couldn't see the difference between my plate and other people's plates, and yet it was like a third of the price. It was absolutely ridiculous. Not all restaurants are comfortable with serving you a child's portion, and I know there's a bit of controversy in the community on whether restaurants should be obliged to give you one or not. Whereas I just personally believe that, you know, there's nothing wrong with asking for a kid's meal, but maybe don't go in expecting it. Because of the sizes of the kids' meals anyway, I much prefer to just maybe share some sides. If you enjoy going to Wetherspoons for something to eat, they do these little small plates, which is really handy. I think it's 3 small plates for £10, but we only need 1. But if you're sharing with someone, they're absolutely perfect. So what I like to do is I usually get 1 small plate and 1 side of salad. There's still loads left, but it's just like a hassle-free way to order some food that's not terrible for you, and you're not spending more money than what you need to. So when it comes to my fluids, I don't really have that much variety at all. I've chose still not to have anything fizzy. I know some people do decide to go back onto it because their stomach is fine, but I personally haven't really missed it all that much, so I've just decided not to bother trying it again. Honestly, the main things that I tend to drink these days are cups of tea, sugar-free squash, and sometimes an OXO drink. I usually only have them when I'm feeling a little bit dehydrated and dizzy. If I get up too quick and realise I haven't really eaten as much or drank enough through the day, what my doctor advised was to just have an OXO drink, as the salt helps, makes you feel better. Oh, and also there is my sugar-free crusher that I have every now and then, but that's very rare. If I'm out and about and I need something to drink, I can pick up anything like maybe a Ribena Light or a little mini smoothie from M&S, or just a bottle of water. I do really struggle with water though. It doesn't really go down as easy as the other drinks that I have, so I don't drink. I like to try to have just plain water even if I'm not liking it. Alcohol. So I know there's so much controversy online about whether we should be having alcohol or not post-op, so hopefully I won't get too much hate for this. I do drink alcohol. I don't drink alcohol all that much. I have it less than once a week, sometimes once every fortnight. It's not something that I feel that I need to have, but I don't restrict myself from it at the same time. My hospital personally actually allowed me to drink after 3 months post-op. I know most say a year, but for some reason mine was only 3 months. The first drink I tried once I reached 3 months was Malibu and pineapple with ice filled all the way to the top as to dilute it. It did hit me pretty quick, I'll be honest, but I wasn't exactly stumbling around on the floor passing out drunk, but it was more of that giggly, tipsy feeling that hit me quickly. So I've drank about this much and I do feel the warm, fuzzy feeling already, which is just so weird. I don't know if I'll be able to drink all of this. Oddly enough, I didn't go over that feeling though. I had the whole Malibu and pineapple drink. It took me ages to drink. I think it was about an hour. But yeah, so I didn't get more than that tipsy feeling. However, once I'd finished, it completely left, like really quick, so I sobered up quick. It's a bit like food really, in the sense of you could be really full from a meal that you've just had, but it doesn't last very long. Before you know it, you're a bit peckish again. Well, for me, unfortunately, anyway. But yeah, so the alcohol feeling just completely left after not very long of finishing my drink. So I know transfer addiction is a big concern in the weight loss surgery community, how you can swap one addiction, i.e. food, for another, i.e. alcohol, or even anything else, such as drugs, or even something as innocent such as shopping. But whatever it is, you can transfer to it. Now, unfortunately, I've already had a little bit of a problem with alcohol. I wasn't addicted per se, but my problem was when I went out, how much I did drink, and the fact that I didn't eat before going out either, because eating was cheating, and I tended to go out more to get bladdered than I did to have a good time. I do believe it was a big contributor to my weight, because I would drink to excess, I would suffer with blackouts, spend sometimes up to a week in bed afterwards with really, really high anxiety, not doing anything and just eating absolute shit. It also caused some problems in relationships, friendships, and it was something that needed to be nipped in the bud for me before I even had surgery. So about a year before I even had the surgery, it was something that was making me worse, making me more unhappy, and making my mental health deteriorate. And it was something that I really wanted to change. So fortunately, with the help of my lovely partner and being in much better company and generally having more things to be happy about in life, I managed to tackle this problem. And now drink isn't very important to me. I don't care. I can take it or leave it. And now that I've had surgery, I haven't really got any worries about transfer addiction, because it's something that I've been wary of for 2 years now, and something that I feel like I found a really good level with it. The last thing I needed when going through this surgery was tackle a alcohol problem, and I am just so thankful that I managed to calm that down before doing this, because it was already a struggle quitting smoking and not having food. So to have done all three so soon would have been hard. So drinks that I personally like to have when I'm out are Malibu and pineapple, Malibu and cranberry, which for some reason I can drink all night and have it not really affect me, thankfully. Vodka and cranberry, or vodka and any kind of fruit juice. Jack Daniels and apple is an interesting one. It tastes a bit like flat cider, but in a nicer sort of way. So that's something I've had if other options aren't available. And rosé wine. However, rosé wine can still get me to a level that I'm not most comfortable with. So I'm very careful around that one. I usually tend to only have that if I know I'm having one drink, say with a meal, or if it's the end of the night and I need a little pick-me-up. So I have like a little rosé at the end of the night. But I don't have that all night. That's not for me, because it will get me too drunk. So that includes all the topics that I wanted to cover today. My diet isn't the perfect bariatric diet, and I'm not telling everyone to follow me, and what I'm doing is amazing. However, it is something that's worked really well for me so far. I've found it quite easy to stick to, and it's a hell of a lot better than the stuff I was having when I was pre-op. Not every day has to be perfect. There are days when I slip up and have just a normal cookie instead of one that I've baked with peanut butter. And there are times where I really fancy just calling the whole thing off and having a naughty day. And I will do it, and I'll try not to feel too much guilt and remember that I am human. And what I will just do is make sure the rest of the week is as good as I can make it. those days are very far and few between because the diet I'm sticking to has been so easy for me. Hopefully I'm doing something right because I am 11 months post-op, and since beginning this whole journey with weighing myself and stuff, I haven't stalled once. And I'm not sitting here tooting my own horn saying, look at me, this diet's great, I haven't stalled, because, you know, I'm not a year post-op yet. Things can get harder. I've heard that what I'm in right now is the honeymoon stage. You know, you lose weight whether you're eating shit or not. I'm not sure if that's true exactly, but some people have said that. So you never know, I could be back here in another 2 years or a year, giving you a completely different diet. Maybe I will have to, you know, be more conscious about what I'm having, but I really hope not, because this is where I'm feeling happy mentally and physically. I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I know I've been covering quite a lot of topics, and for that reason I have included the timestamps in the description. If you have any questions, as always, please feel free to ask me anything you like regarding surgery. You can either drop that in the comments below or even message me privately on Instagram. My username, as always, is @Gs_sleeve Louise, and I really look forward to hearing from you. Take care, guys.